Hello chess fans, this is Rick from Chess to Impress with number 71 in the series Viewers Games. This one is from Mark from Canada. And he says, I just wanted to say I love your videos and I'm subscribed to Impress and Progress. I have picked a new game for you to analyze. It's definitely one of my favorites and it shows how much I have improved since the last time I sent you a game. Here it is. I am family is key with the white pieces. Admittedly, my opponent was about 100 points lower than me, elo-wise. I believe around the time I sent you the first game I was mid-1200s. I am now 1466 rated and am on my way to 1500. This game was a 15-minute game with a 10-second increment on chess.com. I played an opening I usually never play, but it transposed into a sort of Italian game, which is part of my white repertoire. So in this game, Mark from Canada is white. He has a rating of 1452 in this game, and his opponent was Sass79, who was rated 1328. Let's have a look. Mark played e4, and his opponent played b6. Knight c3 and knight c6. A rare move. Most players play bishop b7 on move 2. Bishop c4. And now look at this move, e5, an even rarer move. This game now only has a handful of predecessors in the database with millions of games. d3 and bishop c5. Knight f3, and indeed we now have an Italian game with the unusual black move b7, b6. Knight f6, both players castled, rook e1 and h6. Useful to keep the bishop out of g5. This spin could be unpleasant. Bishop e3, the bishops were swapped, and a6. a3, knight a5, played after 2 seconds, leaving the pawn on e5 unprotected. White can just take that pawn now. But white doesn't notice it either, and we call that double chess blindness. Both players had missed that pawn was en prise on e5. Bishop a2 was played by Mark after only 2 seconds. And here d6 is a good move to protect that pawn. But black still did not see that his pawn was unprotected and played c5. And Mark does not need a second chance. He now took the pawn. Pawn up for white. Queen e7 and knight g6. Very nice. Mark saw this tactic. It only took him 18 seconds to find this move and to check this move. It is a fork on queen and rook, and the pawn cannot take because the bishop, yes, it's very far away, but it's still pinning the pawn on f7. So white will win more material. It took black a while to recover from this shock. He played the queen back to d8 after 38 seconds, and Mark took the material. Queen takes, and now Mark took a minute and 17 seconds to come up with knight d5. Good move. Knights were swapped, and d6. d4, and now a bad move from black. He thought about it for 36 seconds, but he played bishop b7, missing that his knight now has no squares. A knight on the rim doesn't have many squares anyway, only 4. But as you can see, these 3 squares that the knight can go to are all unsafe. And the 4th safe square is now occupied by his own bishop. So b4 does win the knight. After c takes b4, a takes b4, the knight is trapped and will be lost. Mark didn't see it, and after bishop b7 he took on c5. B takes c5 and queen d2, attacking the knight, which still has no squares, but now it can be defended with the pawn on b6 gone. And black played queen d8, defending his knight. b4 is still possible, by the way, to win the knight. It still has no squares. But Mark looked in another direction. He played rook g3, looking at black's king that he wants to attack. King h8 is a good move here, making sure this pawn is unpinned. But black played bishop c8. After only 3 seconds, he really should have given this more thought. Because now we see another pin. Queen takes h6. The g-pawn is now pinned and cannot take the queen. And after only 7 seconds, a frustrated black player played queen f6, but had to throw in the towel after Mark just took that queen off. And yes, the g-pawn is still pinned, cannot take back. Black resigned here. Mark has a hatful of material up and is also going to checkmate Black's king. A pinned piece is a bad defender, as the saying goes. And Mark writes, I think this game shows the power of pins. Always be aware of pinned pieces, for many tactics come from it. And he says, thanks so much for this opportunity to show my game and have you analyze it. Please let me know if I could have done anything better. Love your channel. Thanks again, says Mark. Well, there's not so much you could have done better. It was a very one-sided game. I guess you missed knight takes e5, and you missed that the knight was trapped. You could have won that knight with b4. So you missed a few easy tactics, but you saw a number of more difficult tactics, and indeed it was all about pinning. That knight g6 with the f-pawn being pinned, and then the g-pawn was pinned, which won a pawn, and then even a full queen. Well played, Mark. You outclassed your opponent, and thanks for sending me this game so I could share it with the Chess to Impress community. Hope you enjoyed Mark's game. If you would like your game to be analyzed, you can send me the game by email to classroomchess64@gmail.com. If you like this video, please give it a thumbs up. Please subscribe to the Chess to Impress channel and please leave a comment. I will read them all and I will reply to them all. If you like the video, it would be great if you could share it on social media by clicking the share option on YouTube. This is Rick for Chess to Impress. Thank you for watching.